this morning, when we launched GSH and C, you saw a very, very, very small amount of information on what these products do. What we love about you guys is that on faith, you've gone and bought the product. Now we have the privilege of finding out from those that formulated and the smartest people that we have here why you guys need to take these products. I'm going to turn the time over. If everybody can look over here, we're going to put the spotlight right there. We've got Noah Westerlin, the Vice President of Marketing for Agile, who's going to take us through the Medical Advisory Board and who we've got over there to talk about the products today.
Thank you.
All right, thanks guys. We really appreciate you turning the time over to us because right now we are going to talk about the products. We have with us our medical panel. And let me introduce everyone real quick. We have, of course, Joel Rockwood, Vice President of Research and Development. We have Dr. Fines, the head of our Medical Advisory Board. We have Brooke Christensen, she is our health coach. Abe Fuentes, he is the trainer, the guy in charge and behind the Fit Challenge. And of course, a man who needs no introduction, Randy Gage. All right, so before we get into the science, I have a very important question. Randy, this one's for you, buddy. What do these two products mean for the field?
Listen to this, guys, and listen really important, really careful. They're both amazing products. The C is going to bring us thousands of new customers that we might not only get, but the GSH, this is the product that reboots Agile. Whether you joined a week ago, a year ago, or 7 years ago, Agile launched today at 12 noon Mountain Standard Time. This GSH is such a revolutionary breakthrough. There will be so many companies trying to knock us off. So many companies. You watch over the next 6 months, I guarantee you 200 companies will try to piggyback on GSH. But of course they can't because it can't be supplemented. What these guys have done, the medical and scientific people of Agile, with creating the formula of the precursors that allow your body to actually make and increase its own glutathione. This is going to be the biggest product in network marketing in the last 20 years or the next 20 years, and it just happened today.
Well, there you go. Right from the horse's mouth. So with that, and obviously with the video that we had earlier, it begs the question. Dr. Fines, GSH, why GSH?
Great question, Noah. As Randy said, and has been said already, GSH, let me get this close. GSH allows you to optimize your body's levels of glutathione. As the video showed, we know through scientific research also that glutathione is the master antioxidant. It's been found to be tied very closely to age. It's tied closely to health. It's also tied closely to disease. It's found in every tissue of our body.
Okay, with that, we're talking about glutathione, and we're talking about GSH, and the video did mention that GSH, it's the acronym, the abbreviation for glutathione, and to me that asks one simple question. What is glutathione? I mean, we've heard this master antioxidant. What does that mean?
Yeah, great. Yeah, so there are a lot of antioxidants out there, right? Thousands. So people will say, why is glutathione? What separates glutathione from the other antioxidants? And as I mentioned, it's found in every tissue of the body. So it's actually the body makes glutathione. The two things that in my mind, that make it probably the most unique is that it can rejuvenate or regenerate other antioxidants we take into our bodies.
Okay. So it regenerates other antioxidants that come into the body. Obviously, there's a lot of chemistry at play here. Joel, Randy mentioned something, precursors.
Yeah.
What does that mean exactly?
Precursor they're things that happen before the element. Glutathione is something that we want to build in our bodies. But if you don't have the ingredients to build glutathione, you can't build it. If you've got flour and eggs, then you can make a cake. If you don't have the flour and the eggs, you can't make the cake. Those precursors are the ingredients that become the compound.
Okay, so when we're talking precursors here, we're talking about the base ingredients of glutathione, and there's 3 of them. Is that right?
3 of them. 3
Tell me
amino
about
acids. three amino acids that we have here. One is glutamine, glutamic acid. It is something that's key in a lot of our body functions. Another is cysteine, and the third is glycine. We've actually got them up here on the screen. Now, all of those are three building blocks that through some enzymatic and biological processes, they come together to create glutathione. But if we're short even one of those amino acids, you don't have it.
So if we're short one of those amino acids, we cannot build glutathione.
You cannot build glutathione.
Okay, so that begs the question, Abe, you're the fitness expert, you're the diet guy. We need these three ingredients. Are we getting those in our everyday, eating at McDonald's or whatever? Are we getting those?
No, absolutely not. I mean, that's why this is incredible, because this product, it really is something that can, from a physical fitness standpoint, turn you into a superhero. Because what people don't realize is glutathione has been used by elite athletes, military special forces for a long time, because they know what it does. It keeps the cells from breaking down, and it's amazing what it does. And that's just one small piece.
Okay, so Dr. Fines, I got a question for you as we jump back here. We've talked a little bit, we heard on the video, Randy mentioned it. We talked about building glutathione with precursors. Why are other products not able to do this? What's the problem here with other products? Why can't we directly supplement glutathione?
So folks have recognized how important glutathione is, right? They've done several scientific studies, over 102,000
Yeah,
are
you were
out there.
saying how many there are. 102,000.
Are found on PubMed, which is kind of the national database for studies. So, folks have looked and said, well, how do we get this into the body? How do we get the body's glutathione levels raised to increase health, to affect the aging process, as well as affect disease, as we talked about? Folks have tried to do the whole molecule, the whole glutathione molecule, and have found that it doesn't absorb. So it's poor absorption rate. You're not going to increase your glutathione levels by taking the whole molecule. And that's why when we looked at studies and talked about a product like this to raise glutathione levels, we found that taking the tripeptide, or these three molecules, was the key. And your body can absorb these. As Abe said, they're, or as we've talked about, they're found in our diet in certain areas, but it can be tough to get those.
Okay, so what you're saying then is that if we try and take glutathione directly, it breaks down in our system. We can't really absorb it. But if we get the precursors, we get these things added to our diet, because like Abe mentioned, they're just not there. We can start to build glutathione. Is that right?
That's right. So once you get those three precursors in your body has the natural ability in every tissue, we've talked about this in every tissue, to raise the glutathione levels in those tissues and make it available.
So glutathione is in every tissue in our body?
That's correct.
That's one of the only ones, or the only one, right?
Yeah. It's you look at all these different tissues, and there's like in C, we've talked about C. There in the eye, there are so many different specific molecules that are important to the eye. But if you look at all the different organs, the glutathione's in every organ. It's in every organelle, or every organ process.
Hey, so you brought up C, and that's a good time. Let's jump over to C. We'll jump back to GSH in a minute, but C, Joe, why C? What prompted us to bring that up?
Oh, heavens. Well, there's a couple of things that prompted us to bring it out. One thing is the demographic, the sheer number of people that need it. Vision is something that all of us take for granted, and as soon as we have a problem with it, we're kind of out of luck. It's on some level, it's close to too late to help, and so we want to help that demographic so they don't have to ever get there. The close to home reason that we worked on this, I built this formula a couple of years ago. My brother was a truck driver, and every morning and every night he would have to pull over because during the dusk and dawn, the transition, he couldn't see very well and didn't want to get in a wreck, so he would just pull over. I sent him a bunch of these ingredients before we'd made the product, and he'd been taking it for a couple of weeks, and one day he simply realized he didn't have to pull over anymore because his acuity was better, his light transition was better. He just got it better. It worked for him.
Interesting. So, Doctor, what does C do?
So when we talked about what to put in C, I mean, there's so many different products you can put into, an eye product. There are a lot out there on the market, actually, but, What C will do is it will allow you to keep those components of the eye without going into too much detail. There are blood vessels, there are nerves in the eye. There are many different components that allow you to have this amazing, miraculous ability to wake up in the morning, open your eyes, and without even trying, instant vision. And we've talked about that and how it's not until your vision starts to dim a little bit even that you start to say, this amazing ability I have to see, I've taken it for granted. What C will do is it gives you several different molecules that will help to keep your eye as young as possible. There's something called macular degeneration. Everyone probably knows someone older that has that. And what C will do is it will allow you to optimize and decrease your chance of having of that process taking place.
So there's some very sensitive tissues in the eye. So Brooke, that begs a question for you. I don't know if everyone knows, but Brooke here is a nurse in the neural trauma unit at the hospital. So you deal with a lot of head injuries, those types of things, and obviously along with that's going to come injury to the eye.
Well, eyes are essentially an extension of the brain.
Yeah, absolutely. So Brooke, a product like C in the environment that you work in, how important is this?
I think C is going to be, it's a great product for everyone to take because inevitably people get in accidents, sad things happen, and the stronger you can make your eye, the better outcomes your vision's going to have. It's really sad when they have a traumatic accident and all of a sudden they can't see, but they could have prevented something from that happening if they would have taken a product like C that would have made their eyes stronger so that they wouldn't have had the injury that they might have occurred.
It makes sense. If you think about it, Randy, how does C affect our marketing?
C and GSH both, there's something other unique about these products, which you just figured out when you went to the store. The price point is better. This is going to open up a lot more products for a lot more customers in a lot more markets. And this is one of the things that you got to give Jeremiah and Jeff credit for, that they have been working toward for the last 18 months to price them in this way. So they're just better priced for our markets to bring in more customers. And C is just, I could tell you, I was like 45 years old, and one day you wake up and you can't read anymore. And I was like carrying business cards to the kitchen window and holding them up in the sunlight and wondering, what happened? And when I went to the eye doctor, he said, that's about it. You 40 years, 45, 50 years old, different people, just, they wake up the next day and they need glasses all of a sudden. I had never needed glasses my whole life.
Yeah, it's one of those products that you don't really think about until you do wake up that morning and you're like, oh, man, what is going on? Or you're driving home at night and all of a sudden the glare is much brighter than it was before.
But I even think being a younger person, that's something I want to take so I don't become 40 and all of a sudden the lights turn out on me and I can't see anymore. So I think it's something that's marketable even to somebody. As long as you sell it, it's going to make your eyes stronger. It's a preventative and it's ultimately going to make your vision last longer.
So what you're saying, Brooke, is you don't want to wind up like the rest of us here.
No, I don't. I want to be looking better.
See, what you're also saying is you just wanted to take that chance to point out that you're that much younger than all of us, right?
Don't worry, I won't everyone know I'm closer to, well, let's see, you're closer to double my age. That's okay.
And Brooke, there's another very important consideration here. We had an Agile softball tournament. Okay, there was my team, the Crushers. And then there was the Jeff Higginson team, the Doughboys. Okay.
Not anymore.
These 4 men over there were all on the Doughboy team that got crushed by Billy Looper and Tony Zalecki and all of the studs on my team. So you need to just make sure next game you need to get on my team, because forget about these guys.
You know?
And Jeff still owes me $50 for throwing that. Come on, Jeff. I want my money.
Just give me another 8 weeks with Jeff and we'll come crush you.
So speaking of sports and talking about all that, from a fitness perspective, C.
Well, it's so important. I mean, dynamic visual acuity, meaning when you're moving at a fast pace and the objects are, so in sports, it's vital. But that's also for driving. You know, a lot of us drive on the freeway, cars are moving at a fast rate. Some of us can't drive that well anyways, so the last thing we need is for our eyes to go bad and then keep driving. So this thing is vital, I mean, there's so many different factors of what you need in every aspect of sports and health and fitness.
You know, it's a good point. A lot of times we think of things like that and we go, oh, you know, it's for elite athletes and everything. But then you realize there's everyday things like driving that can significantly be affected. And that's not just an inconvenience. I mean, that could be a deadly position. So Joel, tell us a little bit about the ingredients in C.
The ingredients in C, there's a series of them. We picked all of these ingredients based on a great deal of scientific research. The primary ingredients in there are lutein, grapeseed extract, beta-carotene, and bilberry extract. All four of those ingredients have been studied inside and out, up and down, clinical research with tens of thousands of people to show their beneficial results.
So thousands and thousands of studies back up the research done on these particular ingredients.
Absolutely.
Now, when you combine these ingredients together, what is it that they do for the tissue?
What they do for the tissue, they support, in the back of your eye, if we can get I don't want to get too technical, in the back of the eye, you have these nerve receptors that they pick up. This incredibly bright light shines right into my eyes. It goes through my eye, it hits those receptors in the back, and my brain interprets it. Well, if those receptors if they're not firing right into my brain, if they're not picking up the light right, then my brain doesn't interpret it correctly. The light's still shining on me, but I can't see it. And what these ingredients do is they not only increase the sensitivity and support the sensitivity of those receptors, but they protect them from damage.
Dr. Fine, how big a problem is that from a medical perspective? You know, damage to these receptors or age, how does that affect those things?
Well, I mean, I think you could say it's a big enough problem where you have physicians that specialize just in that little organ, right? Called the eye. They're ophthalmologists. So it's a huge problem. Those guys stay very busy. And even patients I see, you know, from a sports medicine or a spine perspective, they also, you know, I talk to them and they complain of visual problems. It's common. I mean, everyone has someone they know or a relative that has, you know, issues with eyesight, especially as they age.
So we're talking about a lot more than just prescriptions, and obviously I got some going on here. They're not as thick as Randy's, mind you, but but the problems with the eye go far beyond prescriptions, right?
Yeah, that's correct. And the nice part, I mean, so today we have prescriptions, we have LASIK surgery. Those can help correct, you know, a lot of those problems. But the ones that are irreversible, that usually that can really have a permanent, prolonged, lasting effect, are the ones that can happen in the back of the eye. And that's what when we came up with this product, this formula, Joel, kind of leading the team, just said, let's pick this, and this based on scientific evidence that this will slow down as well as optimize the health of the eye.
So proven formula, proven results, proven ingredients. I mean, this has been studied and studied and studied. What advantage does C have over other products?
Yeah, there are a lot of products. I think the first thing that so lutein, we're not the only one that has lutein, but you look at the gel suspension. So I was just actually looking recently at a study that talked about how you get, you can get lutein from your diet and get beta carotene from specific, from specific products in your diet. But the question is, how much does your body absorb? Now with beta carotene, there's a study that came out and it said you will absorb, depending on if you cook your carrots, if you eat them raw, etc., between 9 and 22% of what you actually take in.
Wow, that's pretty low, isn't it?
That is low. Yeah,
You'd have to pound a lot of carrots.
Yeah, and then your skin turns orange, but
Yeah.
but that's the advantage of the gel suspension is it allows you to optimize the digestion or make it more bioavailable for you.
Okay, so talking about how beta carotene comes from carrots, lutein, spinach, right, Joel?
Lutein is found in spinach. It's also found in a series of other things. Spinach is, in our diet, it's probably the primary source. But again, the content of lutein in spinach is tiny.
So if we were to take that out and talk about the diet that we normally eat, do we get these nutrients?
You would probably get enough lutein if you ate a bowl full of spinach, like that. No,
Every day?
the answer is no, we don't get enough in our diet.
So that's where C's all
Yeah, but you would have to eat that bowl of spinach every day. Or you could just take a little 10-gram packet of C.
So you're saying I'd have to turn into Popeyes, really?
Yeah, and that's just one of the ingredients.
That's a good point.
But I think the important thing also, again, is digestion. You know, you eat that big bowl of spinach, it has, maybe they say, the minimum amount of lutein you need for a day. So getting the spinach, eating it every day, and then the question again, how much is your body going to absorb,
yeah.
from that?
And that's really the advantage of the gel suspension technology is just that absorption.
It's already prepared for your body to absorb.
That's perfect. Let's jump back to GSH for a second now that we're talking about absorption. We talked earlier that one of the big problems with other companies trying to do glutathione products or whatnot is that you can't absorb the glutathione molecule. It just breaks down in your digestive system. We talked about the precursors and what that's all about, what that does for us. Have we done studies that show that this is making a difference, that this is absorbing and doing something?
We absolutely have. We finished a study a little while ago. We had fantastic results. We did this over a couple of month period. We took a baseline, and this is a blood draw, so we actually had to send it off to a lab and get, analytical medical testing. We got a baseline number. We had some interim numbers for some people. We had a final number for some people, and the results were fantastic. As I graphed it, I went around showing some of the people the graphs, and most people didn't believe me. They said, well, that doesn't look real, that those results are too good to be true.
So before we bring up those results, talk to me about the average person. What do their glutathione levels look like? And we've talked about how they come down and everything. Can we just explain to everyone, what does the average person's glutathione levels look like over their lifespan?
It's an interesting point, because everyone's a little bit different. If we simplify it and kind of put everyone in a similar category, what we're going to see is about the age of 20, we all start to reduce our glutathione levels. It degrades about 1% per year. So the older you get, the lower you have, the less that 1% is. And so it's not a straight line, it's kind of a curve. And there's our curve right there. So if you start at 700 at the age of 20, by the time you hit 100, you're going to be down to about 313. And that's not to say that you started at 700. That's going to be the average numbers that we see. Well, with this glutathione supplement, with GSH, what we see is some astounding results that we saw between 2.5% and 10% increase over the course of 2 months. 1% per year degradation as compared to up to 10% increase in 2 months. As we charted this and we graphed it, the numbers just kept going too high. We had to interpret it because it can't keep going up forever. But these are the most conservative results that we could come up with. And
Randy,
it still looks too good to be true.
I see you over there with just this look on your face. Tell me, what does this mean to you?
First of all, we get all the competitors because they're still doing the pills and the tablets and the juices. And the gel matrix technology is what always wins in the end. And you all saw the study from, what's that place in Minnesota?
The Mayo Clinic.
Mayo Clinic.
Yeah.
I mean, so we know about gel. Now when you take this thing with the precursors, I mean, the only analogy would be if people tried to swallow a coconut, a walnut, say, well, I need more protein. Let me swallow a whole walnut. What's the point? You could swallow, imagine if you could swallow a whole coconut. Would you get the nutrients out of it? No. But this is the difference between really having these precursors that allow your body to naturally do what it's supposed to do, which it doesn't do because we eat too much fake food, frozen food, fast food, microwave food, and this actually reverses the process. It's this, guys, you gotta understand, this is the closest thing to the fountain of youth you have ever found. You will see when you hear Craig talk about how his blood tests are actually showing him 10 years chronologically younger. That's the impact of this product.
I mean, that's an an amazing story and amazing selling. You look up here, you can see the results, proven results. Now, doctor, medically speaking, what does this mean?
Yeah, so I mentioned earlier that glutathione is tied closely to disease, age, and health. So just kind of thinking about the patients that I see, patients with cancer, patients with heart disease, rheumatological conditions, where inflammation's involved. Those people in those disease states have decreased levels of glutathione. It's been shown time and time again from studies that we've looked at, and that's why people are now saying we need to figure out how to increase this. In some clinics, they're
Right,
actually
doctor, just to clarify, because I saw a lot of studies like that, cancer, AIDS, hepatitis, HIV, any of them, as the disease progressed, the glutathione was less. It's just a complete every single time, right?
That's correct, yeah. And the reason is, without going too much into the scientific, background behind that, is because these disease processes produce oxidation. They increase the oxidation in your body. We talk about oxidants and antioxidants. And that's what we need to try to understand is oxidants are bad, antioxidants are good. Glutathione is the master antioxidant. So when they go through these disease processes, it's been shown that your stores of glutathione get depleted. They drop
doctor,
down.
What you're saying then is every time we get sick, maybe it's a cold, maybe it's something serious, like Randy was talking about, that takes away from our glutathione levels. So we're not just losing them because we're getting old, we're losing it because we're getting sick, right?
That's correct.
Well, that's a perfectly healthy person that's
Yeah,
losing their glutathione.
So that's the healthy person.
Yeah,
that's
and
not the sick guy.
here's the other thing, because you're all going to say, well, why didn't Joel put this in Exo? Because if this is the mother of all antioxidants, and Exo is the amazing antioxidant product, remember, glutathione, you can't take it as a supplement. So even if you just put glutathione in Exo, your body doesn't process it. You have to do what he did with the GSH, which is to create this formula, which you got to understand, this is one of the biggest scientific breakthroughs since this guy in 1888 discovered it, and since the 1980s when Cornell University really understood the impact on health. It's what these guys have done to create this formula of precursors that allow your body to do it, right? Anything you'd add on that, Joel?
Not on that. It's really, we're just all really happy with how it's working out. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah. Nice job, Joel. On that. Hey, Randy, you mentioned Exo. Joel, with this, do we still need Exo?
Of course you do. If you think about antioxidants, how many different types of antioxidants are there? We used to say there was 250 of them in Exo. There's more than 1,000 in a single grade.
Actually, let me stop you right there. What is an antioxidant? Maybe we should just explain what that is. Because, there might even be a little confusion from my side. As I think about antioxidants, I've always kind of just thought about these different things that are in my body, and I know that there's some in Exo and there's some in this and that. Can you clear that up? Like, what is an antioxidant?
An antioxidant, well, to do that, let's explain what a free radical is. A free radical is something that needs an electron. It's a compound in your body that goes and steals an electron from a healthy cell.
Which was that OH cell you saw in
That
the video.
OH cell, that's the angry cell that goes and steals the electron from somebody that's happy. And then that causes a degradation process because, you know what, you stole my basketball, I'm going to steal his, then he's going to steal yours, and so it creates a chain reaction. What an antioxidant is it donates that electron, it throws another ball into the situation, and so it quenches that reaction. We're oxidizing all the time, and so we need to continually use antioxidants to fight off that oxidation.
So oxidation, I've heard that term from car guys. It makes their paint look bad, or we know if we leave a piece of fruit out, it oxidizes, it turns brown. Is that the same process that's happened to us, Dr. Fines?
Yeah, it's nice because we actually have some examples, out like that in the environment. We can watch. We cut an apple, you look at it an hour later, it starts to brown, starts to change consistency. There's a chemical reaction that's going on there. Same with a car. You get a little nick in the paint, water gets on there, salt, so forth. And
starts to
rust, right? And that's oxidation. So in this cell, unfortunately, set aside disease. Let's say a healthy person, this guy right here. As you make energy in your cell, you bring food in to your body. You have each organ brings in a portion of that into it for energy, right? As that process takes place, which is actually a very good process, it allows us to operate and do things, allows our organs to function. There's a byproduct. So just like a car, it's good, you put gas in, it gets you somewhere, it accomplishes something. Unfortunately, it spits out something into the environment that's not healthy. And that's the same thing that's going in our body with the good processes.
So what you're saying then is that everyday processes, even as simple as breathing, actually, while beneficial, obviously, they actually age us, they cause damage?
Yeah, that's interesting. So you have the newborn baby, right? Born, you the OB and the pediatrician suck out the lungs, you're kind of waiting. I have a 5-year-old and an 11-month-old, and so you're kind of watching and waiting for that first breath, and then they finally take it and then they cry, right? And that's kind of the sign that, okay, they're good, they're healthy, their lung, at least that's the first sign. So there's this dichotomous relationship between oxygen and our bodies. We need it, we have to have it. If you ever exercise too much or hard or strenuous exercise, if you've ever been underwater, you feel that need for oxygen. You feel that in your lungs, that burn. Come up for air, I feel good now. But that oxygen that we bring into our body also can can form that HO molecule.
Yeah.
And that's where glutathione comes in, as well as other antioxidants, but glutathione kind of orchestrates the whole process in a way.
So you pointed out other antioxidants. Exo has myriad of antioxidants in it, has tons of antioxidants. If we think of antioxidants like vitamins, you can't just take one. You can't take vitamin C and say, I'm done with my vitamins. You've got to take the range of them. Antioxidants are similar. There's internal antioxidants, ones that are produced by your body, and then there's external ones that you have to supplement. Exo is an external. It's one that you take from, it's antioxidants that your body doesn't produce. You take them into your body. GSH is an antioxidant that not only recharges those antioxidants, but it works as an antioxidant itself. And so it makes your exo keep going. It's the perfect complement to exo.
So really the answer to the question, exo, GSH, is both?
Both, absolutely. One doesn't replace the other.
So Dr. Fines, you're saying, exercise, all these different things, they can affect, the oxygen that we bring in and it ages us, and obviously it's good to exercise. Abe, your perspective, glutathione, how important is this, and what does it mean from a fitness perspective?
Well, it's incredibly important because what happens is when you breathe in those free radicals and it breaks down the cell, that affects everything from a chemical called ATP, which is adenosine triphosphate, which is the chemical that makes you flex your muscles and run and things like that. All of a sudden you don't have as much. All of a sudden that lactic acid starts building up, your workouts are getting shorter and shorter because you just can't push hard enough. With glutathione, it's almost like a force shield around the cell that keeps it from breaking down, allowing you to recover faster, which is going to allow you to put on more lean muscle, drop body fat. There's a myriad of things that it's going to do for you from that fitness standpoint.
Brooke, you see a lot of people injured, some very traumatic injuries. You see sometimes it's because a car accident, other times it's just because of poor health choices. What does a product like this mean to your patients or the people that you see in the hospital?
I think a good way to describe GSH is it's an opportunity or a key to the fountain of youth. It's something that's going to turn back time. As some of us have kids, your kid will recover faster from a bumped knee, or they just seem to rebound a lot better. But when you get older, our patients, they stay in the hospitals longer. And so almost every day we'll look at a patient and say the 50-year-old's going to stay in the hospital a lot longer than this 30-year-old. But if they really start taking care of their bodies and start getting their levels higher, they're going to be able to rebound better, they're going to act more like a kid, and ultimately they're going to have a higher quality of life for a longer amount of time.
So what we're talking about here then is cellular age. Randy, I think you were talking about it with Craig, how he's got the blood test of a much younger man. This is the ability to kind of turn back the clock on the cellular age. Obviously, we can't shave years off of our birth date, but we can turn back the clock on our cellular age. Is that fair to say, Dr. Fines?
No, yeah. As just one process that I think would be good to understand from a scientific perspective. So when we're born, we have DNA, and that's essentially the blueprint for our cells. It's a process that goes on. Cells die. We know that like a red blood cell, for instance, after about 3 to 4 months will die. That's its life. So the body is continually making these red blood cells. That blueprint for those red blood cells can be damaged by oxidants. And that's why, as we get older, if someone gets a cut in their skin, not as efficient at healing up as it was when you were 20. And so what glutathione does is it helps protect that blueprint. Keeps you, so your 20-year-old blueprint, we want to keep that 20 as long as possible.
I mean, the blueprint, really what we're talking about is DNA, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
So glutathione protects our DNA.
Right.
And by doing that, we don't get kind of the copy of a copy thing. We get a copy of a nice preserved original.
Yeah, that's a great way to say it. You want the original. And we all know what happens when you copy something several times. It's not quite as good, and
It's kind of
we
like a
see
bad
that.
version of the telephone game for yourselves. Is that what we're
Right.
talking about? That's not good at all. So let's jump back to C for a second here. We've talked about glutathione and it being in every particular cell and it doing a whole lot of functions. C, what does that mean for people, Joel? I mean, tissue standpoint, the ability to see, what is this going to do for people? We see the results for glutathione. What is C going to do for people?
I think C is, there's two perspectives, and from a team member's perspective, I'll let Randy address that, and he may have already addressed it, because it broadens the opportunity to share a product. But for an individual, what C does is it's going to protect. I have friends that are blind, legally blind. Their vision is continuing to degrade because those photoreceptors in the back of their eyes, they're breaking down. And one of my very best friends, he will essentially be blind within 5 years. He can see about that much right now. These are the exact nutrients that he found out, and this was years ago that he started taking things like this. These are some of the nutrients that he found that he was supposed to be taking, but the problem is that he got to it too late. If he could have gotten to this earlier, it could have made a world of difference for him. And he's, we've got this product to him. Things are progressing better, but there's people like this all over the world. There's people like this. If you aren't someone that has something wrong with your eye, you know someone who does. Someone in your family, someone of your friends. The market for this and the impact of this product is so far-reaching. It amazes me.
So Randy, how do you approach someone? What do you say? How do you introduce the product to somebody?
Well, again, I think most of us approach people on the lifestyle, the whole business opportunity, and that's how we get in the door. We get them to a cash flow class or whatever you're calling your home meeting in your particular team. And then we talk about here's what drives the opportunity. And we show the product lines, and then they find things that are sexy to them. Some people are crazy about men because they have a child that won't take vitamins, or they've got an elderly person who can't swallow pills, and some people get excited about the skincare line, the ageless. What I think you're going to see with these two products is these are the products that are going to bring us in the elite athletes, the world-class athletes, the professional athletes, the raw food people, the uber healthy people, the tofu burger crowd that sometimes we don't get with the other products. I think these products are going to, and you're going to get the athletes who are going to say, yes, I'll take them, give me a $2 million a year endorsement deal. And we just say, no, Agile doesn't pay people to take our products. Our products speak for themselves. And, I remember, Abe and I were talking at dinner last night at the Black Tie event, and he's been fascinated with GSH for years and talked about how he's talked to his clients about it. I think it's going to really bring us a whole new section of people.
Both of these products are preserving things. C is preserving your eyesight, and then GSH is actually preserving every cell in your body. And so if you can really sell somebody on, you're going to keep your quality of life longer, you're going to keep that sight, you're going to feel better longer, I really think you can sell that to everybody. And there's no reason everyone shouldn't take both products home and be really excited about it, because they're offering, this is something for everyone, and this is something everyone should be taking and trying to preserve.
You know, that's a great point, Brooke. You know, this is a huge opportunity for team members to be able to share these stories. And obviously they're for sale in North America now. I mean, you can order both of these products in the US and Canada. They're going to be in the EU very soon. I mean, they're in customs. It could be as early as next week that these land in Europe. And in Russia, right now, it's in the final stages of approval, and that could happen later this fall and early winter. And so everyone's going to have an opportunity to share these products quickly. Jumping back to GSA.
Well, and let me just give another shout out to Jeff and Jeremiah, because that's what they've done, is they started the registration process all over the world so early. The team here was so early setting up the ingredients and getting the formulas and getting the product registration in place early. We thought we wouldn't, we got 500 people here from Russia this weekend. Russia, Kazakhstan, Ukraine. We thought we wouldn't, yeah.
That's right.
You know, we thought we'd be a year later when we got it in Russia, and it's going to be a few months. So it's really a testament to what Jeff and Jeremiah have done in terms of this is their first launch that they've really been in charge of, and this is the best in terms of marketing materials, planning, website, promotion, registration. It's the best orchestrated product launch we've ever had.
You know what else? It's one of the most successful product launches we ever had. In fact, I was just checking numbers before we came out here. We've sold over 3 times more of these products than we sold of any other product at a launch.
I believe that. See, these people get this. They understand how big these products are going to be.
So people get this, and I would tell everyone, get it before it runs out. You know, I mean, there is a tremendous demand for these products. So after this, jump back there and get those. GSH. I want to talk about how this complements other products. You know, the C, Umi, Green, EXO. We talked about EXO. Joel, how does this complement the product line?
You know, it complements them very well, and that was part of the design. That was one of the driving motivations for the glutathione product. It's such an unknown giant. I mean, medical communities, people that are really in the know on that side of it, they're aware of it, and then they know about it, but the mainstream, not familiar with it. One of the beauties of this product is not only does it line up with EXO beautifully, it complements EXO, it also supports your immune system. It complements Umi in this same way. It's going to help with your white blood cell count. It's going to help support that. Umi and GSH are a perfect pair. Well, Green, also a perfect pair. Green is a wonderful colon cleanse, if any of you have experienced that, yeah. GSH, glutathione, is a brilliant liver detoxifier. It helps chelate minerals. Yeah, liver is, just about everything you do happens in the liver. It's a wonderful detoxifier. So when you're detoxing and you're cleansing all at the same time, it complements EXO, Umi, Green. It's a perfect companion for them.
So GSH, we talked about the ingredients in it. It's got the 3 precursors in there, the main ingredients, like you said, and you need them all to make the cake. But there's other ingredients in GSH as well. What is the purpose of those ingredients?
The purpose of them, if you look at the supplement facts panel, there's maybe 7 or 8 ingredients in there. The 3 amino acids, they're in there as the building blocks. The other ingredients, they're there for a couple of different reasons. They're protectors. Sometimes glutathione will get denatured before it's able to do its job. Some of these ingredients are there to protect it, and others are there to help with the manufacture. They're there to help the plant produce it much more readily. It greases the walls.
So every single ingredient in GSH is focused on raising the glutathione levels in your body?
Every single one. The studies, time and time again, the reason we used it is because it resulted in a higher glutathione level.
And Noah, that's what impressed me when Joel came to us with this proprietary formula and said, hey, this is what I want to put in it. You know, but the 3 precursors were obvious in a sense because that's what you had to have glutathione, right? But when he came up with the other components of the formula, as we've looked through each one of those, there's again study again that shows those will help optimize the levels as well as the function of your GSH.
So really a unique and incredible formula.
I think so.
Weird.
Yeah.
Who would have thought? Joel's excited about it. So Randy, you talked about marketing and how Agile is more prepared now than we've ever been for a product launch. And in fact, there's a piece here, and I believe we got a little picture of you on the back there. Talk to us about this piece.
If you didn't see it, kids, this is in the store right now. Little special report, Optimal Health. The lead story, did nature provide a fountain of youth? Signs of low glutathione. Somebody reads that right away. They realize, oh, wow, I need this. How GSH works, the real scientific breakthrough about Agile, which is all about the precursor, 7 reasons you need GSH, shows the scientific advisory board as a little credibility piece. A little thing about inside Agile GSH, the ingredients that Joel was just talking about. Agile's overall kind of a credibility. And then they did a little interview with me about the overall business opportunity. Great follow-up piece from your home meetings or your hotel meetings, and particularly, and for the people who are just the retailers and just selling products to people, great leave behind piece. This is the kind of piece you could leave 20 of the, put your sticker or your stamp on the back here, leave 20 of these in the chiropractor's office and the gym and any health wellness area. Great marketing piece.
So Randy, I know you're a big believer in third-party tools. How does this help the team member? I mean, what can this really do for somebody?
Well, again, it's a piece that can be there when you can't be there, when you leave them at a place like a gym. And then again, it's always about, we don't want you to be a scientist. We don't want you to have to memorize everything these brilliant people did. If it's about you, it doesn't duplicate. If it's about a tool, then it duplicates. So when someone has a question about GSH and how it works and what it can do, you always want to use the tool because that's where you're going to get the best duplication.
It makes for good validation also. As you said, the scientists can't be there everywhere. I try to travel around quite a bit. We've got Dr. Fine's going to Italy here pretty quick. We get around, but the truth of the matter is, we can't be everywhere, but this can.
And these are available in the store right now. So we've got the tools, we've got the science, we've got proven science, we've got the scientists. We heard it right from the horse's mouth over here, telling us how this is the future of not only this company, but network marketing. Ladies and gentlemen, these are incredible products. There has been a ton of research put into these, not just from the outside, but also from the inside. This is proven science. This is Noah Westerlund. This is the medical panel.